Hi everyone, welcome back. Hope you guys are having a great Tuesday night. Thank you so much for coming in to watch this. We're going to talk about, well, what's going on with Bitcoin. Bitcoin didn't do that great today, miners neither, so we'll take a look at that. We'll also talk about Marathon, getting into a project with flare gas. So that's kind of interesting there. I'm kind of excited about that one. We'll also talk about a little bit on Cleanspark. There's still, I think, a lot of confusion with investors as far as the 300 million additional shares that are going to be added in if the vote goes through later on this month. So I'm going to try something on my iPad where we're going to do some doodles, maybe hopefully explain it a little bit better. Maybe, I don't know, we'll see. And then we'll get into the miners as far as best performing miners in September. So that should be kind of fun. And as always, we'll get into you guys' Q&A side of things here, so you guys know the drill. Not financial advice for him only. Please do your own research. And full disclosure down below that as well. Hit the like button, subscribe, helps me out tremendously. And let's get into what we have on Bitcoin and Bitcoin miners today. So Bitcoin was down a little bit more today. It was another wild day for it. We ended down actually a little bit here. We're down 0.13% on the day compared to yesterday. We closed at 62,122. So we are still between our support lines here, which are support and resistance lines. Resistance is still at 63,700 roughly, and our support is still at 61,000. We're still in between those a little bit. If we look at the, why is this not showing up here? Hold on, I'm missing some. Oh no, I'm not missing lines. We are getting closer to having the 50-day simple moving average, this purple line over here, across the 100 simple moving day average, which is the blue line over here, and that's getting closer, right? We talked about this yesterday's video as well, where we saw the same thing happen last year in October, and we went on like a 3x rally after that. So I'm still thinking this is still the case for this year, that we will see something like that, but I just don't know when it's going to happen. Right now we're getting close to that, and we saw kind of similar price action as well since then, or last year. So I'm hoping that the same thing happens this year, but anything can happen here, so we'll keep an eye on it. But right now is really when we should be kind of going off into this bull run here with Bitcoin. This could be just an accumulation phase right now that we're in with institutions, everybody else on it, okay? And as far as the miners are concerned for today, you can see that pretty much everybody was down in the red, except for BitTier was actually up just a little bit here, 0.14%. But nobody was down that badly today. It was just 1%, 2%, 3% more or less, maybe even 4% at most. We did have DMG down about 5.8. That was the only outlier here out of the bunch. But I'm not going to go through all that here on this. Let's just take a quick look at the network hash rate really quick. I did post something on Twitter. I don't know if you guys probably have seen this, but we'll talk about that also. But look at the network hash rate here right now on the 7-day average. It is back up to 688 exahash. This is on the 7-day average. If we look at let's take a look at the daily. Did we hit a new peak? Almost. So it looks like we almost hit a new peak at 742 exahash. This was back on October 3rd. Prior high was 742.759. That one was 742.759. So that was the same high. We were down a little bit below that, but so that's trending back up here. 30-day average is also kind of starting to pick up a little bit here from where it's been. But on Twitter, I posted just some factoids about Bitcoin hash rate and the miners hash rate growth. So the miners here in the last year, the ones that I covered, the 12 here, actually increased the network hash rate by 95 exahash. So that's how much has been added into it. And that represented approximately a 40, I think, going off memory here, 43 or 45% increase in the network hash rate over the last year, where last year at this time we were at 420, while this past year, at the end of September, we were at 640. So that's a 220 exahash increase, while the miners here added 95, right? So quite a large position of it, considering that they are only now, as of September, 29% of the overall market, and they keep gaining market share. So this has been an interesting kind of factor to take a look at as far as how that progressed. I probably should have pulled this up for you guys to see the numbers on it. And actually, I probably can do that still here. Hold on. Let's go over here, and it was under my settings here, so you guys can see the numbers here, how it played out. Where are my charts? No, it's not under there. Sorry. Miners comparison. Here it is. So here's a chart. Okay. Hash rate, miners hash rate growth last 12 months. You can see how much the miners have grown here. You can see also how much they have added exahash-wise. This is percentage-wise. This is exahash-wise or petahash. But you can see how much they've grown. It was tremendous. The best performers were obviously Cleanspark, Marathon, Riot, and IREN. Those guys grew the most. Those guys combined were like, what, 30, we go off my math here, 70 some exahash alone on it, looks like. maybe 65, 70 exahash alone. So those guys are growing tremendously here. But it's kind of interesting to see that the miners are taking market share from the other publicly traded miners, not publicly, private traded miners, and possibly what some people are calling nation states and things like that, where we've been hearing this kind of also, I don't know if it, well, I guess you could say dialogue. But over the last year to probably 2 years, I've been hearing a lot more about people being concerned about nation states taking over, how they're going to be the top miners going forward, that the miners have really no chance when it goes to going against the nation states and things like that. And I'm actually seeing the opposite here. So this is actually really good news for the miners, publicly traded miners at least, on this side of things. Okay, so let's see here. We talked about that. And then let's take a look at quickly here how September is really shaping up right now for us. And this is as of today, so we're down only 2% on the month so far. We're still only, 7-8 days into the month. I would expect this to pick up much better here going forward as things progress. All right, but let's take a look at, let's take a look at Marathon's news, and we'll get into Cleanspark, share dilution, and I'll try to explain as best I can there. But Marathon provided this on Twitter today also. I did not find the press release through their website, so I don't know if they're going to put that out later on, maybe tonight or tomorrow. So we have to deal with this, but here's what they're doing. So Mara announces a 25 mega project, micro data center project powered by excess natural gas from oil fields. I think this is really great, but I do have probably more questions than they have answers in here on the report. But here's what we have. So Mara is excited to announce the launch of a 25 megawatt micro data center operation powered exclusively by excess natural gas from oil field production. This marks an important milestone for the company as Mara will be operating its first owned power generation assets to convert this excess gas into electricity for use in on-site data centers. This isn't their first owned power generation. I think Mount Hardin, didn't they own that one, I think? But I could be wrong on that, but I thought they owned that one. But they actually ended up selling it, so this would not be their first, I don't think. Mara has partnered on this operation with Engon, a leading on-site mitigation service provider, to increase utilization of natural gas and mitigation flaring, the controlling burning of gas to reduce methane emissions. So I think this is great. My question is they're partnering with them. How much is the partnership? What's the split on the revenue on this stuff? We don't know that. They didn't provide that in the press release here or just the release on this information. Don't know how many exahash they're going to be adding to this. How many sites? How many generators are they going to be using? What's the cost on generators? Who's paying for those things? All of those little nitty-gritty details to let us know, or at least maybe figure out what the cost is there, what the profits could be like on it. We just don't have that information here. But nonetheless, I think this is great news that they're using that methane gas that's just being wasted to actually use it for Bitcoin mining. This is fantastic. The 25 megawatt micro data center operations will be distributed across wellheads in Texas and North Dakota. Okay, how many, right? And how many generators are you going to need for that? Those would be all good things to know. These sites, which would otherwise flare excess natural gas, began energizing in September and are expected to be fully operational by January 2025. This methodology captures and converts the excess natural gas into economic value on site while reducing operating costs and dramatically improving the sustainability of oil production, increasing methane mitigation efficiency up to 99%, so that's great. The operation also establishes a pathway to create carbon credits via grid offsets through successful listing on the Vera registry. Okay, so that's all fine and good. And again, my big question is how many sites, how many generators? So you got the generators set. So it looks like, based on this at least, they're saying this is for illustrative purposes only. But it looks like you got, 3 generators powering 2, I don't know how many are even in here. These are like little boxes of cube-tainers or something like that for the miners to be in place there. Also, are they air-cooled or are they immersion-cooled in there? What are they doing? There's a 2-phase immersion cooling. Don't know about that either. But this is the tank batteries, energy flare, emergency flare over there, wellheads over here, and that's running gas. And they got gas coming into here. And then they're mining on this part of it, more or less. What else do we have here? Going down here. This is a video. I'm not going to play the video. You guys can watch the video. But I think this is really good. Like I said, I just would like to have more information on it, on some of the economic behind it, right? How much of the partnership is it 50-50? Is it 75-50% or 75-25%? For Mara, whatever it is, a little more details I think would be better for us as investors to know actually what's going on here. But all good things here. Okay, so let me try going into explanation of Cleanspark shares that are going to be possibly approved here in the next couple of weeks. with their votes, shareholders' votes that they're going to have to increase the share amount by 300 million, right? So I'm still having questions come up on not only on X, but in comments in my YouTube videos and in spaces, all that stuff. I'm still seeing a lot of people being, I think, just maybe misinformed on it as far as how it's going to work. So I'm hoping to take this time, maybe a couple minutes here, to kind of try and explain it how I believe it's working right now. All right, so Cleanspark right now, and I'm going to try this as best as I can. Forgive my handwriting, it's not the best. So Cleanspark has right now, as of before the increase in shares to 300 million, they currently have 300 million available to them, right? Million available to them. I'm going to probably available, sorry about I spell. Available to them right now. They've only used up about 250 million plus of that, right? So this is used so far. It has taken them approximately 3.5 years to use up the 200 some odd million, I think it is, to get them from where they were with starting out basically in January 2021 with 100 petahash to now where they are at 28 exahash, right? So it's huge growth over that. And they've used up so far, roughly, I think it's been like 200 million plus shares, right? So they've used up 200 million plus shares over the last 3 years. So the last 3 years. 3 years. Sorry for my chicken scratch writing. It's also, I'm not used to writing with a pen on a tablet here. Okay, so they used up 200 million shares and they've grown tremendously, right? On that side of things. The additional 300 million shares that are going to be added to them will bring them up to 600 million shares, right? They're going to have shares that's available to them, but that doesn't mean that's going to be diluted right away. The next, however many shares, so they got 250 million plus already, plus the 300 million, so they were looking at 350 million shares available to them to use for ATMs, but they still probably haven't used up all of their ATM that they announced back, when was it, March, I think it was, March, April, I think it was March, for 800 million, right? They still probably have shares that are part of that they haven't used up yet. That will get them to the 300 million shares here. At that point, they will be capped of what they can actually pull from. So this next 300 million shares will get the number of shares in the incorporation of the company to 600 million shares, but they'll have 300 million shares available again to use for ATMs, right? And when they use those ATMs, they usually don't pull the whole 300 million shares at a time. They'll usually give it like a dollar amount on it. So they'll do an ATM for, 500 million share or 500 million ATM. And depending on where the stock price is at that time, it'll highly dictate how much dilution we have from that pool of 300 million shares that they can pull from, right? So it should be pool of 300 million shares. Now, I'm guessing, based on what I've seen here with them, especially since they drew 200 plus million shares here over the last 3 years to get to where they are right now, 28 exahash. And the stock price at that point also was much lower, especially in the bear market and things like that, while they were trying to build and grow in the bear market and everything else. I think they used up a lot more shares earlier on to get to the point where they are. And then going forward, given where they are with the stock price right now, around $9 something, we're heading into a bull run. If they do dilute here some in the bull run, which I think would be good, because at that point the price is going to be going up on the stock price with all the miners going up, actually. They're probably going to be diluting less number of shares. So that would be good possibly as well. And then that growth there that we are talking about here, that we've seen here in the last 3 years to get from 100 petahash to 28 exahash, I think we might see that, from where they're supposed to get to 50 exahash with everything that they purchased, but they need to get it installed. I think we might see them grow another, 50 exahash, 100 exahash in the next 3 to 5 years, if not more, on top of it. But I think it's going to take them a longer, I'm guessing here, 5 to 7 years before they use up the 300 million shares here for ATMs. Based on the simple fact that the stock price is going to be higher, they're much bigger of a company right now, more infrastructure, more data centers or Bitcoin mining sites, everything else, larger HODL, all that stuff is going to play into where I think they're going to dilute over a longer period of time. I could be wrong on this, but this is just kind of what I'm seeing here with it and how it could possibly play out. But to me, this is actually accretive in the sense that, yes, they have diluted, 200 some odd million shares, But where has the stock gone, right? The stock has gone from basically being at the lowest of like $1 something all the way up to $24. Market cap at that point was around 5 billion almost, 4 billion to 45 billion. It's come back down, but a lot of miners have also come down. So I think it is accretive what they've done with 200 million shares and where the stock has gone. But we also know that we are in a very volatile space here with Bitcoin in general and the Bitcoin miners especially, that they are just a much larger leverage play on Bitcoin in the bear market and the bull run as well. So I'm okay with this. And the only reason I'm okay with it is because they have been very astute on what they have been buying, what the prices they've been paying for the miners, the sites they've been buying as well. Their operations have been great. So I think it is good for investors in the long run for them to have the additional 300 million that they can use at their disposal to either buy sites, buy more machines, buy other miners out potentially, whatever it might be. The only way that they're going to grow is to have that, excess of shares available to them to use up if need be. Okay. Hopefully this kind of explains it. I know I probably haven't done the best job at it, but with all my chicken scratch here. But let me know what you guys think on that one. Okay. All right, so that's it on that. Let's get into the miners, how they did in the past month here as far as which miners are the best. So here we go. Let's get into that. Okay, hopefully this works. All right, it worked. Fantastic. So as always, we look at the monthly updates for the miners and see how they did over the last month, and we grade them on a bunch of metrics, actually 8 metrics, 6 and 8 metrics actually. So we graded them on month-over-month hash rate growth, BTC percentage sold, Bitcoins per exahash, month-over-month BTC mined percentage, BTC mined, days mined, current hash rate, and HODL as well. The 6 metrics don't include HODL and the current hash rate on that one. So that's not really operational metric more or less. So we want to look at operational metrics and then also like the HODL and hash rate where they're at currently. Okay. So let's go down here. The first one is going to be month-over-month percentage hash rate growth. Higher is obviously better. Iris did a fantastic job. They grew 31% here in their hash rate. Cleanspark was in second spot with 22%. Riot in number 3 spot with 19%. And BitDeer in number 4 spot with 14% growth, followed by Hive with 6.6%. So those are like the top 5 miners there. Marathon increased by 4.8, Cypher 2.73, and then Hut, Bitfarms, TerraWolf, Core, and BitDigital, no increases on them. Current hash rate. Marathon is going to be obviously the biggest one here. They got 35 exahash, followed by Riot at 23.5. And Cleanspark should be higher than that. Did I miss something here? I might have missed something here. Hold on. Let me see here. You guys are going to have to watch me go through this stuff here. Let's see here. Current hash rate. Where is that pulling that from? Monthly hash rate. Yep. I forgot to go down on these guys here. So they're 36. All right. Bear with me while I update these really quick. And then we'll go through this as well. Let's see, 28. Let's see, 27. See, this is what I have to do each time I update this thing. So you guys, okay, that one's actually pulling in the latest data from that one. So that's good. Iris, let's see here. Iris is pulling it from over here. Okay, that one, bear with me for a couple more seconds, guys. I'm sorry. I thought I had this already done. And I think it's because I pulled up one of the ones that was pulling it from the other, from here. So I thought all of them were like that. And I need to update this. I need to do that for all of them where they're pulling it directly from each miner site or miner sheet, actually, instead of going down here and having to update this all the time. Okay, that is my bad. And let's see how this changes the numbers, if at all, for these guys here. We'll go through it. And we're going to just go, let me see here. There we go. Okay, so without giving anything away, I'm going to put the camera on myself here for a second while I do the updates here to make sure you guys don't get to see the end result before I want you to. All right, so I'm going to sort this descending, 1, 2, 3, so that gets a 4 now. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Okay, so not much of a change there. Let's see if it changes the scores at all on these guys. It does not. No changes there either, so that's good. Okay, so that actually worked out. No changes in the overall scoring on these guys. All right, let's go back here. Sorry about that. Okay, so here's the hash rate. So Marathon, number 1 spot. Riot, number 2 spot, right, with 28.2. Cleanspark is at 27, and Riot is, Riot has that installed, but not like operational at 100% or close to 100%, 95%. So I'll give them benefit of the doubt here. Iris is at 21 exahash, Core at 20 exahash. So those are the top 5 here on the chart. Going to BTC per exahash efficiency, we see that BitDigital is number 1 here at 21 BTC per exahash, so they're the best ones, followed by Hive 19.8, followed by Bitfarms 19.2, then Cleanspark number 4 spot with 17.8, and then followed by Marathon 17.82. So that was actually pretty good for Marathon there. Month over month BTC mined, Iris mined the most here, month over month, 41% increase, followed by Riot 27. Then we got Marathon with 4% and Cleanspark with 3%. Hive and Cypher were actually 0. And then some of these guys here were down actually. Bitfarms was the worst one on that one. BTC mined here, Marathon mined the most, 657, followed by Cleanspark with 483. Then Riot 412, Iris at 347, and Core at 345, pretty close. So Iris actually beat out Core now. So those are the top 5 there on that one. And then days mined here, we can see that BitDigital mined for 29.78 days. So great uptime. Hive 26.7. BitDeer 26, Bitfarms 25, Cleanspark also 25 as well. So those are the top 5 for those. Going down here to HODL, Marathon has the biggest HODL. You guys know that already. They have 26,000 coins. Riot's got 10,000. Hut 8's got 9,000. Cleanspark's got 8,000. Cleanspark is closing in on Hut 8 here. I wouldn't be surprised if by the end of the year, Cleanspark actually beats out Hut 8 here. Then we got Hive with 2,604. So those are the top 5 there. Percentage of Bitcoin sold. Marathon, negative 92. What does that mean? Well, that means that they actually bought Bitcoin here. They didn't sell anything and they bought more. Cleanspark only sold 0.4%. Riot sold 1%. BitDigital sold 5%. And Hive sold 67%. One that sold the most here was Cypher. Cypher sold 611% of their Bitcoin mined in the month. And that's because they used that to pay for the purchase in Texas there. Okay. So that's how that all shapes up. Going down here, so score based on the 8 metrics. What do you guys think? Where does everybody fit into this? Well, here's the results. So Marathon came in number 1 with all the 8 metrics at 24 points. So lower is always better. Cleanspark at 26, number 2 spot. Riot number 3 spot here. Iris in number 4 spot. And the Hive in number 5 spot, followed by Bitfarms, BitDeer, BitDigital, and all the rest here. Hut, worst performer here. On that one, if we look at the 6 metrics that don't include HODL or current hash rate, we can see that at that point, Cleanspark came in number 1 with 19 points, Marathon with 22, Hive with 29, and we got Iris with 30, followed by Riot with 33 as well. BitDigital at 35, BitDeer at 37, Bitfarms at 39, and then Hut 8 again as the worst performer here. So I like to look at those here, and then individually see how they scored on all these things here. We can see Marathon came in really nicely here with a lot of ones, which is good, which is what you want, being in first place. And then they had a couple that were month-over-month hash rate growth and days mined. They were average on. Looking at Cleanspark here, no ones, but pretty low numbers, right? Nothing on the high side of or average side of things, just consistently being average and low side of things, so that's good. Riot was up quite a bit here on BTC per exahash efficiency. That's mainly because of their operational uptime. That's a result of that, which is, you can see it here in days mined as well. So that's a result of that. But otherwise, they did really great on everything else here. Iris, same thing here. Did great on month-over-month hash rate growth, month-over-month BTC mine percentage growth. BTC per exahash efficiency was down a little bit for them. Days mined was also kind of above average here as well. BTC HODL, they don't HODL anything. They came in 9 with some of the other companies that don't HODL. BTC sold, they sell everything, so they're going to get dinged on those a little bit. Then you got Hive here. This is how Hive stacks above things. Big thing is BTC mined is above average along with current hash rate, so above average on that. Bitfarms, pretty average across the board, pretty good on BTC per exahash efficiency, but they got a couple that were high here, above 6. 6 is kind of like the average on these guys. Then you got BitDeer with a lot more above average, along with BitDigital here, really good on efficiency and days mined, but everything else is pretty high except for BTC sold. And then Core, quite a bit above average on a lot of things here. And you got TeraWolf, also, I mean, pretty much average or above average on everything else. Cypher, same thing, same type of deal. And Hut 8, except for the HODL position and how much they sold. Well, really just the HODL position what's really kept them up here on that one. Okay, and then we look at also their 12-month average scores ranking. So each time I do this, I calculate the totals for the month numbers, right? So if they had like a 19 for the 6 metrics, and a 24, whatever it is. I put that in for the month for them, and then I do the average over the last 12 months. How are they fitting in over the last 12 months? And here's how that came out. So based on the 8 metrics, Cleanspark came in number 1 with 27 points on average, Marathon with 36, followed by Core with 46. Then you got Riot at 47, Hive at 48, and Bitfarms at 49, Iris 51, and so forth, so on that one. Now going down here to the 6 metrics, which don't include HODL or hash rate, you still got Cleanspark with 21 points, Hive now at 32 points, Iris at 34, Bitfarms at 35 as well, BitDigital at 38. Now you got Marathon, which was in second spot here, is actually up here, and Riot, which is also over here, much lower. So this is more on the operational side of things here. So I like to look at those as well. All right, but that is it. So best miners for the month of September have been, I mean, probably between these two stacks here, depending on which ones we're going to look at. If you want to include HODL in here, you got Marathon, Cleanspark, Riot, Iris, and Hive. And if you don't include HODL and don't think it's going to be valued as much as it has been in the past, because we do have more options now with ETFs and everything else, yeah, Cleanspark, Marathon, Hive, Iris, and Riot still here on this list as the top 5 there. Okay, so that is it. This will be available to all the Patreon members there. Thank you to all of you guys there. Also to the YouTube members. I will give you guys access to this updated spreadsheet as well, probably tomorrow to the YouTube members. So if you guys don't see a post from me on YouTube, remind me. I'll get that sent out to you guys as well. So access to that is in the description for Patreon membership. It's $8 a month. You might be able to find a couple spots at $4 and $5 a month. So I'll leave it at that. We'll call it a day, and we'll get into your guys' Q&A side of things here, see if you guys have anything to say, any questions or anything like that. All right, here we go. Q&A. Off to the races we go. And I had my lights turned off for some reason in the background. I think got a little short, so that's why it's a little dark back there, or somebody turned off the lights on me because I got all my lights off. Hold on, let me see if I can turn the lights back on. I'm not sure why that happened. I was recording and watching things happen here, and let's see here. Okay, see, did that turn on? Nope. That did not. Oh, there we go. The lights come back on. Let me see. Oh, that's TV Basement. Duh. I need to look at studio. Where's my studio setup? Let's see here. There we go. Okay. Now we got some lights in the background. Not sure why that happened. All right, let me go back up on the comments here, see if we got any questions that I might have been missed here. Okay. Okay. Ahmed says, Seb is our Satoshin. No. Oh, no. I didn't even know about Bitcoin until like 2013, 2014. I read stories about it, but I never got into it until like 2017. Kevin asks, when will the miners rise? I think we're getting close. I honestly do think we're getting close. The only reason I think that is because we saw similar things happening last year, where we were in this time frame. So I think we're getting close. Tesh says, I don't think we go more down than 56K. I don't even think we were going to go down that far, to be honest, but I could be wrong. Okay. If I don't have a position price in Bitfarms, what would be a good entry price? I mean, if you're able to get into it when it was below $1, that would have been great, but anything that you can get into right now, I think is still a really good deal on it. Okay. Would you prefer to buy Riot or Bitfarms? For me personally, I would prefer to buy Bitfarms, only because they have much better operational uptime. And they're growing quite nicely as well, which I think the stock's not being valued for it. Plus, they also have Riot still kind of on their heels a little bit with everything that's been going on. So maybe in time that will get cleared up. Price prediction for CORZ this bull run, that's tough. That's going to be a little bit more tough one, or a little bit more challenging one to figure out. We know that they want to get another 15 exahash installed, or at least replace some of the older miners there. So what would they get them to? 25 exahash potentially if they take out 10 exahash of the older machines, put in the newer ones for 15 exahash. But I don't know when that's going to happen. So that's kind of interesting there. It's kind of tough also to figure that out. But given that where they are right now with 20 exahash, and they're going to have core weave basically sometime in early 2025, or I don't want to say early, first half of 2025, I don't know exactly when, but they're going to start generating revenue from that deal there. That's going to be a big boom for them. But with the Bitcoin that they have right now, well, they don't have any Bitcoin, but the Bitcoin miners they have right now, I'm guessing on the low end, possibly like $30, I would think. just where things are right now at Bitcoin. Yeah, $30, $40, I think, on the low end, somewhere around there. But where the top could be, I just don't know. Okay. Okay. Let's see. Will be good for my 25,000 Riot shares. I'm not sure what will be good. But yeah, Bitcoin going up will be good for your big Riot shares. Let's see. Pat K says if Bitcoin can stay over 62,000 till weekend, will be hunky-dory for rest of October. If it falls under 62 for too long this week, then next week is shaky. I could see that possibly as well. Yeah. But I don't think, I mean, right now we're holding pretty well as it is. We're kind of like in this, in the last couple of days, we're kind of in this kind of accumulation phase. If you look at it, not that one, this one. You can see here that we're kind of, getting to this point of 62,000. It seems to be kind of a support almost here on it. And yeah, I mean, we'll have to see. RSI still looking pretty good here. See the 4-hour RSI on that one. And for whatever reason, TradingView is loading pretty slow today. RSI is looking pretty good as well here on that one, on the 4-hour chart, on the 1-hour chart. Yeah, I mean, we've been kind of just going sideways here on it. So that leads me to believe that we are in accumulation phase a little bit here, at least on it, right over the period of time here. So we'll see, right? I still think that we are going to have a good October, but time will tell. Okay, back here. Okay. John Curtis says after today's decision that our government sees 69,000 more Bitcoin, and their total now is 203,000 Bitcoin. Thought Bitcoin was decentralized, seems not. Is that is that part of the Silk Road thing that I saw, or I think I saw a tweet on it or something like that. Let's see. So why doesn't Cleanspark come out and tell people about their dilution plan and removed fuzz from the market? They did. If you guys had a chance, or if you guys followed Dr. Lewis, he had a great interview today with Matthew Schultz from Cleanspark, and he talked about it there as well. So if you get a chance, listen to that. It is a great interview. It's about an hour, 20 minutes long, but a lot of questions that were asked of that, and retail investors were having questions on. They talked about the plane. They talked about the 300 million additional shares, the dilution, all that stuff in there. Highly recommend you guys check that out. Tess says, wow, 600 million shares, that's a lot. Riot's going to have 800 million shares available to them, right? They've used up already 300 million. They're adding another 400 million into the 400 million that they have available to them. So they're going to be at 800 million possibly sometime down the road. I just don't know exactly when. I'm guessing probably down like next 5-7 years. But yeah. Let's see, some are capitulating and selling miners to buy MicroStrategy. Are they buying a local top? No, I don't think so, not yet. I think MicroStrategy has maybe more to run here. It might be a local top on MicroStrategy. It has outperformed the miners and Bitcoin here quite a bit. Let me take a look at MicroStrategy recently here. So here's MicroStrategy on the screen. I do track it, and if we let me see here. If we also overlay, let's go back to Bitcoin and overlay MicroStrategy here on top of it. Add MSTR. I was looking at this earlier as well today. And you can see here that, let's see, we're on the 1-hour chart. We want to go to the daily chart. You can see that it's definitely outrunning here Bitcoin a little bit. MicroStrategy is up 54%, where Bitcoin here is just up 2%. And this is based from May, right? So a little bit after that. Let's take a look at the halving event from halving. So here's the halving event on the line here. It's the yellow line. Let's see how those two have compared since then. Okay, so right about there. All right, MicroStrategy is up 63%. Bitcoin is actually down. Is MicroStrategy front running? Possibly a little bit here. And we've seen this when it does that, it will actually come back down here potentially. So we'll have to wait and see if that happens as well. Bitcoin goes down just a little bit here. MicroStrategy could come down as well to kind of go back to its averages, I think. All right. And that's that one. Let's see what else we got. Super Diagnostic says, not sure the iPad script helped at all, only to add more confusion. Yeah, it was a lot of gibberish on there. If you weren't following along, and I do apologize, but all I'm going to say on that is the 300 million is not going to be dilution right away. It's going to be over the next 5 to 7 years, I'm guessing, that's going to happen on that one. I think that's probably the easiest way to say it. Okay. Thanks for the great analytics. Who has the best and fastest machines, and why? And are they worth the cost? Thank you. Thanks. You're great. You're very welcome. And gosh, who has the best machines right now? It's. I mean, that's not gonna be an easy question to figure that out. Here, let me see. I think it might be. It's gonna be a toss between Cleanspark. Cleanspark's getting these latest machines here, the Hydros, which are 300 exahash, it seems like. Those are coming in. I'm not sure exactly when, but they're getting those in. The 234 exahash machines as well, a bunch of those. They got the 200 exahash. Then you got also IREN here, getting a bunch of these newer generation miners as well, 200 terahash, 190. They've all paid really good rates on those, or pricing on those per terahash. Marathon is, Marathon, I have a question mark on that. That's why it's in red. I believe they're buying from Auradine. I just don't have a lot of details as far as what their hash rate is, what the price is on them, what their cost is. It's basically a black box there with them on that information, unfortunately. Who else? Riot has been buying those, oh gosh, what are those things called? The micro BTs, right? Those are 250 terahash, 280 terahash as well, 220. So they're putting those in emergent cooling as well. So those might be really good. So there's quite a few that are doing really well on getting your machines and things like that. And they've been putting pretty good pricing on them as well. So I don't have any qualms about that. It's not like last cycle where they were paying, $90, $80 per terahash. This time around, they've been paying around $16, $18 per terahash on really, really good machines too. So yeah, I don't think that's not really a problem there. Okay, Gary Pallet, why doesn't Cleanspark sell part of their HODL rather than dilute at such low stock price? Stock price was 24 6 months ago when they announced 800 million dilution. Last 800 million, not accretive. Well, it takes time. Plus, look at the market that we're in. The reason they don't sell it is because they believe that Bitcoin's going to go up in value, possibly 2-3x or maybe even more than that. Why doesn't Marathon sell right now? Why doesn't Riot sell right now? Why doesn't Hive sell right now? Or not Hive. Well, Hive also, but Hive and Hut 8. It's because they believe that they can possibly make more on it. But here's the tricky part on it. Will they actually sell towards the top or will they not, right? Historically, Marathon has not sold. They've been hodling everything that they can throughout and diluting shareholders for it, even into bear markets. So you're getting round-tripped on that hodl when they could have sold a portion of it, made money on it, right? Diluted less than going forward, but maybe bought Bitcoin lower. But they don't do that. HUD hasn't done that as well. Cleanspark, at least last cycle, they did sell towards the top and even into the bear market, right? So they used that to fund growth, but they were also diluting at that point at a much lower stock price going forward. So, yeah, I think, the dilution that we have seen has been accretive. If you look at the long term, if you look at certain dates from where you cherry pick the dates, yeah, it doesn't look great. 800 million shares, but that's not all diluted yet, I don't think. So you have to look into that as well. Don't just look at the dates from when they came out because all the miners are down. Well, not all the miners. I would say all the miners that are like more pure plays on Bitcoin than HPC are down basically. Okay. Simba says 90% of this chat bag holding. I'm holding. I'm buying more. Oh, I forgot to mention that. I forgot to mention in the beginning. I bought some more. Or did I mention it? Bought some more Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and IREN today. Good sale today. Okay. Touch says Hut 8 is not looking good. Yeah, when it comes to mining metrics, yeah, they're performing really, really bad. We'll have to see what their operations are like for managed hosting and managed services, all that stuff, or hosting. Somebody says, yeah, none of these companies look good until BTC moves, Bitfarms, SMH. Okay. What is S. Matthews said regarding the Coinbase credit line? He said that that's the reason why they got it, so they can use that credit line and not dilute if they don't need to when the price is lower, I believe. I'm going off memory here, but I believe that's what the case was, where they can also do some maybe deals by some sites and not dilute when the price of the stock is lower. So that's kind of why it's kind of a revolving line of credit there for them. Didn't see it. Question, thoughts on the spaces today with Matt Schultz? I thought it was very good, but some people who listened are still confused about the dilution and are voting no for the increase. Yeah, and I thought it was great. DR did a great job. DR is more of an eloquent speaker than I am, so him and who else? Mike Alfred. Those guys, oh my God, I can't compete with those guys when it comes to speaking. But I thought he did a really good job explaining the dilution and how it's going to work. I believe the number of shares increased, 300 million, it's going to go through with the vote. I don't see that being stopped. Let's see here. Sarah Milligan says, pray for Tom at Talking Investing. Why? What's going on? Is he in Florida, I think? Is that the race or is that the race? Is that the case or is he like sick? I haven't heard anything. Okay. Mark Smith says, Samara is the best. Mara is one of the best. I would say that, yeah. I just don't like their operations. Their uptime needs to improve for that. But, I mean, they got the HODL, they got the hash rate, they got everything going for them. Okay, does your bullish case increase in Cleanspark after today's spaces when you compare it with Bitfarms and IREN? Yeah, I'm more bullish on Cleanspark now than I was, which is good, right? Which is kind of what you want from the top heads there at the company to instill confidence and things like that. And I think Matthew did a great job there. Answered all the questions. I think answered them the right way. Did all the right things. So I'm still bullish on Cleanspark. I've been buying Cleanspark, Bitfarms, and IREN here over the last couple of weeks, more trying to build up my positions in all those companies. Sour Melon Gaming says, pray for Tom at Talking Investing while he braces. Okay, for the impact of the hurricane, he's just south of Tampa. Hopefully he got out of there, right? Anybody that lives in that area, hopefully got out. You know, I'm praying for everybody to be safe over there, but yeah, it's a massive storm happening towards them. So, Tom, you're in our thoughts. Okay, question, does it make sense to rank HODL every month, even if Bitcoin price drops for the month? Are Bitcoin miners actually losing money on FASB when miners drop in a quarter? Isn't it same month? Yeah, so they do lose on the FSB per quarter if Bitcoin drops, but they gain it if it goes up. And I think Bitcoin is actually up from the prior quarter a little bit, not much, but it's up. So they will get some gain on that. And that's why I do the 6 and 8 metrics, just one with the HODL, one without, depending on what your flavor is. Okay. Any reason why Bitfarms is taking more of a hit compared to other miners because of last month's mining results, no growth? It could be because of that. It also is, I think, that I saw a post on X or somebody posted someplace that the ex-CEO sold like 1 million shares of the company. So I think that's been keeping the stock down or keeping it depressed at least, heading in a downward direction. Let's see. When Cypher closed the deal on their new Texas mining location, their stock went up, I believe, over 10%. Do you think IREN should do the same and announce they have bought a new site could help? No, it wasn't because they bought the site. It was because of their comments in there saying that could be used for HPC AI, which they have stated was that they have already interest in it. So that's the reason why it went up. Okay. What is happening with Bitfarms? Why is it dumping? At what price of BTC it can do 10 USD, 15 USD, 20 USD? 10 USD, you're looking at probably like 120,000, 15, 150, 20, like closer to 200,000, I'm guessing, somewhere around there. Okay. What do you think about holding the top miners long term and then borrowing against the stocks to pay for your lifestyle, even if in the bear market when these stocks stay above double where they are now? They will not stay double from where they are now. If we have a bear market, they're going back down to, single digits, like they did last time. So I would not hold on to these guys. The only ones I would maybe hold on to, would be CORZ, because of their huge contract with CoreWeave. It's going to be for 12 years. And I think they're going to be kind of insulated a little bit more than the other miners that don't have a huge AI play there. So that'll be the only one I would maybe think about. Let's see. Hey, Seb, do you have a DMGI sheet data where it shows fair value? I do not. Well, I do have it in my small miners. So I don't have it in the ones that here, but I do have it in my small miners sheets that I keep track of DMG, as well as Digihost, Annie, who else is in there? Mawson, Stronghold, and there's another one I'm drawing a blank on right now. Argo. That's the other one. but I do have it in there. It's not a fair value, but I use like the enterprise metrics for those guys as well to look at them. So that is in there. I'll be updating that maybe this weekend, or if not next weekend. I do that at least once a month. I'll update those smaller guys. Okay. Mark, I'm sad that I missed all your takes on Mara. Arrived late. Short summary of Mara news. The short summary is I think it's great that they're using the flare gas from the drilling sites. It's just a little light on details as far as I'd like to know more details on the partnership that they have there. What's the percentage that they're getting out of it all? How much do like the generators cost? How many machines can they put into a site with one generator or two generators, whatever it might be? Just some more details and what's the cost involved, those types of things. But I think that overall it's a great thing. Let's see. James says HBO documentary claimed that Peter Todd is the Satoshi, but I doubt so. I'm not even sure who Peter Todd is. That's the first time I'm hearing him. I mean, I remember hearing about some of the people that were originally part of that original group there. I'm trying to blank on names right now. I'm terrible with names. But that's the first time I'm hearing it. So I'll have to take a look at it. I'll look at it maybe tonight if I get time, if we're done early enough. What time is it? 10 o'clock. Okay, let's see if we can get through this quickly. Maybe we can watch the documentary. Okay. Hi, Seb. So we are into our second week in October and BTC still flopping around. What are the odds this will stay at these levels for another 3 to 4 months? I think very low, I think. Because if you look at last year, right? We were around the same, well, not the same price, but we were at the same levels as far as RSI is concerned, the 50-day moving average, the 100-day moving average as well. And we saw a nice pump there, and we are historically in this zone where we should be going up with Bitcoin. Let's see. Hi, Seb. Where to watch Matt Schultz interview? Can't find it. It's not to watch. You have to listen to it. It's on Twitter or X now. If you search for DR, D period R, what's his last name? I'm drawing a blank. I'm terrible with names. I know it. There's not much you can do about it. DR Lewis. D period R period Lewis. And I think you might also find it under my Twitter. I think I commented on his thing on there, so you might find it under my repost or post, something like that. But it's a great interview. Tesh, yes, smash the like buttons. That would help a lot. Okay. What is your price prediction for MicroStrategy? I was going to buy MicroStrategy on last October at 400-ish. I think it's going to go probably from Bitcoin where it goes here, another 2x on top of Bitcoin. So we're looking at maybe 4x from where it's at. That'll be conservatively. It says it has already 5x'd. Yeah, that's why I think we might have a little bit of pullback here before things start picking back up. So I think right now we're seeing a little bit of a, oh God, what's the word I'm looking for? It sucks getting old. We're seeing a rotation into MSTR from the miners, I think, right now. Okay. Mark says, Seb, I have been thinking about the run-up in BTC price as we see the price rise to 100K. Do you expect any public miners to flip on old miners to capture more BTC and exahash? The publicly traded miners probably don't have those laying around. They're going to be putting in machines that are the newer ones, so I don't see that happening. Some other companies that I don't track that might be overseas, elsewhere, private miners as well, they might do that if they're waiting on newer machines to come in, yes. Let's see, here he says, IREN is at least 25% efficient than anyone else. Currently, IREN 16 joules per Bitfarms, 21, Cleanspark. Yeah, I got a question on IREN. I've been running the math here on my numbers, and I have them like at 20-some x joules per terahash. And I got to reach out to the guys there at IREN to take a look at my math and see if I'm wrong someplace or if I missed something. So I'm not going to report it just yet because I just don't know for sure. But I can show you what I have here. I just don't know if it's accurate. So take this with a grain of salt on what I have for IREN. But IREN should, let me see here, where is it at? IREN, okay. So here's IREN right now, right? IREN, yep, okay. I have them at 20.43 joules per terahash. And that is with them being at 30 exahash by the end of the year. The 10 additional exahash that they have is optional. They haven't purchased those yet. And they're stating maybe in H1 of 2025, so sometime in 2025, the first part of it. and this is what I'm basing it on. I'm basing it on these 200 terahash miners, the mix of T21s, S21s. I'm not sure exactly what they are, but I'm guessing 3,500 watts per machine on those. The T21s are 3,610 watts, right? And then 3,540 for these over here someplace. So I'm being as close as I can be to the actual manufacturer specifications on these things. And I'm using all the data here, so I'm pulling in everything except for the ones that are no longer included here that I'm keeping track of. The only way I'm thinking, if my math is correct, which I'm not saying it is, but I'm just saying if it is, the only way that they can be down to like 16 joules per terahash is if they are underclocking these machines, potentially going into like power savings mode or something like that on them. And I'm not including the, like I said, the optional 10 exahash that they have there for next year sometime. But that's kind of where I'm getting this numbers from, right? So I'm including all these machines, everything here, and I'm at 20. So unless they are, like I said, possibly underclocking them, power savings mode, or they are actually, which kind of might make sense here, because they're at 24 days operational here on average on all of those things, which would then make me think either they're curtailing because they need to curtail in Texas, or they are underclocking them, which then would give them, but then maybe they have more machines plugged in. They did say they have 31 already. So, or 21, right? So maybe they have more machines plugged in and they're underclocking them. I just don't know. So that is a questionable mark for me, but maybe in time we'll find out. But I still really, really like IREN here. Okay. Hey, Seb, in the interview with Matthew Schultz, did he specifically say it will take a few years to dilute to the 600 million shares if approved? It's not that. Oh, so this is where you guys are confused. The 600 million shares is what they're going to have total. They have currently 300 million available to them. They've used up already 250 million of those shares. So if they add on the additional 300 million shares, they're going to be at 600 million shares total for the company, right? That's going to be available to them, or not really available, but to them. I don't know how else to put it. But they'll have like 350 million shares that they can use for ATMs and things like that. And I'm guesstimating, based on what they've used here in the last 3 years, number of shares, stock price is much better, much higher, right? Right now, and as stock goes up higher, they possibly will dilute less. And so I'm thinking it's going to take them longer time to dilute the next 300 million potentially. I hope that kind of clears things up a little bit there. Okay, what is the fair value price for Wolf based on Bitcoin mining metrics? For Wolf, let's see here, DuraWolf right now. So if we look at Wolf without any of the hype around HPC AI right now, excuse me, I have them at somewhere between 336 and 504. They're at 391. I think they're fairly valued right now, right? But they're being valued more on their potential for HPC AI, and plus the two prominent investors that have invested in them as well. So that's giving the hype around the HPC AI credit there. Okay. Let's go back here to questions. Okay. Mark says, LOL IREN is overrated with no HODL. Retail investors are obsessed, but I'm glad they will at least win a little bit. Well, it's not really retail. I mean, sure, we as retail here, which is a small group, it's not the full retail clan out there. But if you look at the number of institutions that have been getting into the miners, I mean, they're the ones that are really driving this. It's not retail yet. Retail is going to go in when it's going to be too late, when it's, FOMO is going to reach into it. That's when a lot of the retail is going to get into it. Okay. Andrea says, thank you for the Cleanspark explanations. Put my mind at rest. Okay, good. Yeah. Okay, if Bitcoin goes significantly lower for whatever reason, I will take the opportunity to buy BitX, the 2xBTC ETF cheap. What do you think of this idea? People have done that. I think it definitely can work. So I don't do the other things. Maybe somebody else can respond to that has worked with BitX. Gosh, can't speak. It's getting late. I'm getting tired. Let's see. Palantir, who has diluted 2.2 billion shares and making 52 weeks highs. Yeah, and that's one of the things I've also brought up in the past is you can't really look at the number of shares that a company has. You have to look at their operations, their income, their revenue, all those things go into play in it, and where is the market cap of things. People are sometimes just too much fixated on shares, which I agree. Shares will dilute you. But if you go from it's really bad if you go from, let's say there's 500 million shares outstanding, right? And all of a sudden, next day, they've diluted, another 500 million shares. Well, then that's bad. But if it takes them to do that over the next 5, 7, 10 years, whatever it might be, then it's not that bad, especially as you have growth for, you're getting something for, you're getting infrastructure, data centers, whatever it might be. It's all, as long as it's creative, I guess, what I'm trying to say. Okay, let's see. Candidly, all miners are starting to look like absolute poop compared to MicroStrategy. Yeah, there's times when they do that, and there's times where they look like darlings compared to MicroStrategy. So that does happen. Do you think Mara is a safe double up? I do think so. Mara has the name recognition. They got great hash rate. They just need to have better operational uptime. They have HODL. I mean, yeah, I think they will for sure. Do you think once the shareholders approve the dilution for Cleanspark, share price will go down and will stay down for quite a while, even when BTC goes up? No, I don't expect that. And remember, it's not dilution. It's not going to happen right away. It's just the number of shares available to them to dilute in the future. So it's not going to be a 300 million dilution when they get voted on. It's boom, shares outstanding goes from 250 million to 550 million. No, that's not the case. Plus, you see. Let's take a look at here, Cleanspark here. How did Cleanspark do on institutions here last month compared? Where is it at? There it is. Okay, pull that up. I track this just to kind of see where institutions are doing. Institutions, let's see here. Did increase, number of institutions, 378, right? So just a little bit here. But you also remember that they announced this. When did they announce this? In August. Institutions did increase tremendously here, quite a bit here as well. So institutions are still buying into it. We still have 4 strong buy ratings, 1 buy rating, 1 hold rating. So that's great. Price targets are staying the same. So it's not like institutions are freaking out over it because they know that the dilution is not going to happen overnight. It's going to happen over the next number of X years for the next additional 300 million shares that are going to be added to their availability. Okay. Let's see. Okay, Mar did improve uptime even for the month of October. They are at 95%. Not by my math. They're not. Marathon, let's see here, was operating in September for approximately 24 days. 24 days out of how many days we have here in October? 30, was it 31 or 30? I can't remember now. I'm also bad with months. Let's see here. Based on that, so if we have 24, was it 24.8? Here's the numbers that I have for so you guys can see. 24.8 divided by 30, their operational uptime was about 82%, not 95%. Okay. Let's see. Jacob says the dilution has been out of control and we need a detailed look at executive compensation. Yeah, their compensation, I think, is better than other companies, but it is high. I will admit that. All are expanding hash rate at the expense of long-term retail shareholders. I would consider myself a long-term retail. I've been buying their shares since January of 2022. Right, I've been increasing my number of shares, and the reason I'm actually up in the green still is because I was able to buy in much lower prices and held on to it. But if somebody that bought in the last couple of weeks or a couple of months, where they bought in at $20, $24, yeah, they're not going to be happy for sure. Right, but they're now looking at the longer picture, looking at the short-term frame, and they're now looking at the dynamics of Bitcoin and everything else that goes into it. So I would just say be patient, as always. Let's see here. Except Hut 8 clearly, well, no, Hut 8 has diluted investors like crazy, but they also did a reverse split during the merger. They have to take that into consideration. They were diluting shareholders to keep the doors open, hodl, and have better operations at that point too. So they didn't do a good job there. Hi, so are you afraid of HBO revealing the identity of Satoshi? No, I'm not, because that's not going to be the actual Satoshi there. I think the actual Satoshi, like I said in previous videos, I think did a wonderful thing for humanity, possibly passed away from whatever reasons, and I hope he's in a better place, and I think that his contribution to humanity might make humanity better in the long run, but we'll see. Okay. Thoughts on MicroStrategy BTC pair at all-time highs? Yeah, so I think we need a little bit of pullback on MicroStrategy. Okay. Why don't you look at mining efficiency or energy cost of Bitcoin? Is only a company that has a huge cost per coin and is losing money on every coin better than profit miner like IREN. Well, not every company is losing money. IREN does have good operations and good pricing on things, on electricity. Cleanspark, Bitfarms, those guys are still profitable when you look at things, but when you include share-based compensation, you include depreciation, all that stuff, that brings down the stock, right? But on a cash flow basis, they're still making money. So IREN, I would say, is probably like in the top there as far as the most profitable, I guess you could say, in a sense. So I agree with you there, but it's just not that. They could be profitable if you also are doing other things, spending money on, HPC AI. How long does that get to? There's a lot more to it. It's not just that simple. Okay. Andre asks, if Bitcoin goes into a super cycle and miners stay above at least double where they are now, no bear market, what are your thoughts on borrowing against the top miners to fund your lifestyle? If they are double from where they are, I mean, why would I? It's going to be tough. The problem that they run into is really that if Bitcoin stays pretty high, right, for an extended period of time, people are going to be buying machines, which means the network hash is going to be growing, which means the miners need to continue to grow, which means they're going to be either diluting shares in order to grow, or they're going to be selling the HODL if they have it to grow that way as well. So I just don't see that happening. So I think you want to get in at the top, buy at the bottom, and repeat possibly if we do have that. What do you think BTC is waiting on? I think the BTC is waiting on the smart money that they call it, intelligent money, which is the big guys, to get enough in their boats in order for it to start sailing. Once it does, then it's going to lift everybody up. Let's see. Good news from the Middle East. Dixie to go down, the elections to be over, all of us to sell and give up, possibly. Yeah, I think it's just the big guys are playing with us. They're trying to get as much as they can in the short term to get rich off of it. So we're just little pawns in their playground. Let's see. If MicroStrategy goes up 4x conservatively per your say, that would take them to 800, which is 20x from October 23. Wow. Yeah, they could do that possibly, right? And some of the miners could go from where they were in October, November, December of 2020. No, it was 2023. No, it was 2022. From there, they're looking at 20, 30, 40x potentially, some of these guys. Okay, let's see. Because Gary, when Bitcoin is up, those coins are all 100% profit, and it's going to make them massively more valuable than IREN, who sells everything like fools. Okay, yeah, you guys are having a conversation on that. I mean, there's different ways to do it. I think there's some good to the way IREN is doing it, and also some good to the way that like Cleanspark and Marathon are doing. But as long as you sell a portion of your HODL in the bull run, I'm okay with that. I do not want companies holding all the way through and diluting shareholders to do it. Okay. Let's see. You think 23 is the top for Mara this cycle? No. Let's see. Nick and Adam worked on the creation of BTC. Not really such a mystery. One or the other is the founder, and it doesn't really matter. Well, they could have worked on it, but how much they could have? I gotta watch the thing. I'm not gonna comment on it right now. Let's see. Mark says also you are wrong about them losing money on every coin because otherwise they would have to put out an ATM for cash to cover operations by now. They only have used ATMs to buy BTC. LOL. I'm not sure which one you guys. Mara now? Are you guys talking about Mara? I'm not sure. Okay. No one wants dilution, but it's a necessity to survive in this industry. And if I had to choose to have a company do it, it would be Cleanspark and IREN. I wouldn't trust Riot nor Mara because track record. That's a good point there. Yeah, historically, Riot has been better. Riot has been selling. They haven't been hodling everything. That's been a little bit better there, but their operations have been great. Marathon has historically been always like hodling. They did sell some last year into like the beginning of this year, I think. But other than that, they've been holding on to everything. Okay. The reason why I asked about Matthew Schultz is because when this bull run hits hard, this cycle. There's a chance they can dilute all 3 million shares if it hits all-time highs this cycle. Oh gosh, no, you're not gonna be diluting that much. No, 300 million shares at the peak are around, well, it's not gonna be at the peak, but if you're diluting as it goes up in value, right? So if you're diluting at 20, 30, 40, $50, that's a lot of money. 300 million shares, I just do an average of, just say $30. You're looking at like $9 billion? No, they're not diluting it all that. And that would be just too much of a weight on the stock itself, downward pressure on it to do that. Yeah, Mark's agreeing with me about more on uptime. Let's see. Okay, let's see. Mara's paying as much as 7 cents cost energy to have miners hosted. Yeah, they're like 6.5 cents, I think. They can't be profitable with energy costs that high. They do have it offset with their own sites now, where they're possibly going to be like at 4.5 cents or something like that, those sites. So they've done the right thing by buying infrastructure instead of being asset light. Okay, let's see. Fragrical? Yeah, Cleanspark to 0, every miner to 0 except Mara. Okay, that's your viewpoint. I don't see that happening, but okay. Okay. Let's see. Par says, can you see it? The fear, it's coming, Seb. We've been waiting 2 years for this. Godspeed. Yeah, the fear is definitely out there. Var says, the cope will be legendary. Yep. Okay. Okay. They didn't lose it because they didn't lose 200 million. It was the revaluation of Bitcoin because of the FASB rules. But it's not like they lost $200 million. It's paper money, basically. It's not actual money. But they even without that, I think they would have lost a little bit, but it wasn't that bad. Let's see. As Bitfarms shareholder, I'm now really hope they can release 14 exahash this month. We need some great news. Yeah, I agree with you. I would like to see something like that. 12, even getting 12, 13 exahash would be great. Okay. How much cash on hand does Cleanspark presently hold for their 2025 expansion? That the only numbers that I have for them is from their their Q3, which was our Q2 numbers for them. And for that, we have to go back to my sheets over here. And at that point, let me see your Q3 2024. The cash and cash equivalents, including restricted cash, was 126 million at that point, and they had 413 million in digital currency assets. So they had, quite a bit there. So 126 million. They bought some sites. Let's say they're down to like maybe 50 million of that to get to the 50 exahash. So they're going to be dealing a little bit more here, but they still have an ATM that's open that they can pull from on that to dilute if need be. Okay, going back here. Okay. I view BTC staying between 60 and 70 for a while a good thing. Reason being is that it gives the miners more time to grow more exahash, and when they grow, the price goes up, and they can make more money. In a sense, yeah, that's a good way to look at it. Let's see. A lot of miners are still profiting around these prices, especially IREN. Yes. Okay. Let's see. Do you think that if whatever reason BTC goes up 50% to like 90,000 and God forbid Bitfarms is still under 3 and Cleanspark is still under 15, would you say the thesis over leverage play is broken and just buy BTC? At that point, yeah. I mean, if the miners don't do at least like a Bitcoin goes up 50%, we would need to see at least the Bitcoin miners do like close to 3x to 4x at that point. If we see them getting at least a 2x, okay, maybe not too bad, but it still would be something that would make me question it. Okay, Gary says I bought Cleanspark under 2 and sold at 18 and used money to buy more IREN at 7. Nice, very nice job. Yeah, I mean I bought Cleanspark between $9 and under $2 for the last couple of years here, and I actually sold a portion of it as well to buy IREN. So that was a good move. Okay. Did you see the lawsuits filed against IREN? Thoughts? What lawsuit? I did not see anything, but I might have missed it. Let's see. Private says, thank you for making yourself available and answering our questions. Oh, you're very welcome. I enjoy it because you guys make me think also. So you guys are helping me out also kind of process everything in my head that's with all the data that I have. Am I making the right decisions? Am I in the right things? You guys help me out in that as well. Okay. My YouTube Premium just expired. The amount of ads every 5 minutes is crazy. That's not up to me. That's up to YouTube whenever they want to put those things in there. But that's why I have YouTube Premium. It is such a huge time saver. So I highly recommend anybody that doesn't have it to get it. What is it, like $7, $9, whatever it is. It is just so valuable, especially if you watch a lot of these videos on YouTube and things like that. The time savings is fantastic. Okay. So percentage-wise, how much more popular is Bitcoin or Bitcoin miners now comparing to 2020 among the North American residents? That I don't know. We could possibly look at like Google Trends and see where the search, queries were at that time for Bitcoin. And usually that happens more when you have a bull run or Bitcoin going parabolic. You get people to start searching more and more for Bitcoin. So I don't know, but I'm imagining it's probably more because I have regular people talking about it more now that I've heard in the past. So I think the sentiment is more out there, positive for it, than it has been in the past. When something becomes very popular, it goes down. Yeah, it's that curve, right? That I can't remember what that curve is called, where you have early adopters, and then everybody else, and then you get that bell curve, and then it's basically over. Mark says, Seb, thanks for all the great feedback tonight. Have a great night, you too. Thanks for coming in. What else we got here? What are your thoughts on the class action lawsuit filed against IREN? It alleges that IREN violated federal securities laws by making misleading statements. Oh, they're talking about that. Yeah, that was, gosh, I saw that a couple months back, that was a couple law firms were throwing that around there. And that was based on the short report that came out on them. The misleading statements are towards them. I'm paraphrasing here, but I think it was because of them stating that they could have HPC AI at their Texas site, which they actually have up in Canada right now. So I think it was something to do with that. It's just a crazy lawsuit there. Let's see. Benjamin says, I feel any company that's holding Bitcoin is going to do good in the Bitcoin bull run, like Robinhood. I think it's the second companies that hold Bitcoin. You think they'll eventually they'll go up. I think the companies that do hold Bitcoin will go up. I don't know if they're going to get much of a premium for the HODL. It's not like in the past, where in the past the miners were a proxy to Bitcoin. HODL. Now you have MicroStrategy. You also have the ETFs. There's just more avenues for the regular investors to get on board with than having to go with the miners, which are a lot more volatile. So I just don't know. Time will tell, right? I'm seeing it like on Marathon and others where their HODL is right now, at least. Let me see here. I'm going to pull this up. It's pretty high compared to their market cap. So take a look at this. So HODL, 35% of the market cap for Marathon is HODL, right? That's pretty high. Riot is 25%. That's actually pretty low. So they're not really being valued on their HODL. They're not really being valued on their operations either. Who else has a large HODL? Hut 8. Hut 8 is just insane. 54%, right? So 50%, they're being valued more or less on their HODL here instead of their operations. Whereas if you look at like Cleanspark, which has huge growth, great operations and things like that, and a pretty sizable HODL, they're only at 22%, right? So you got to look at all those things on it. But time will tell. I don't know. I got companies that have HODL and companies that don't have HODL, so we'll see how it works out in the end. Okay. Let's see what else we have here. I think we're getting close to you guys. End of questions. Let's see. Eddie says, I have YouTube Premium as well. Super convenient. Yeah. Huge time saver. Hate ads, LOL. I do too. Yeah. That's why I have YouTube Premium, but then it also helps kind of pay for my time and channel and everything else that I do here for you guys. Let's see. Seb, I have a large position of Wolf at $2.40 average. Part of me telling me to sell, but the larger part is telling me to stick with it stick with it at that low average. Yeah, so the big thing for Wolf is going to be, do they actually have a customer there for the HPC AI business, and how big of a customer is that? And I think that's why the stock has run up right now. So I can't tell you what to do. Maybe sell half of it, keep the rest, let it run, take your profits out of it, and see where it goes. Because right now, Wolf is coming back down a little bit here in the last couple of days. If I remember correctly here, let me pull that up. Get rid of that. Go over here. Too many things happening here. Wolf, where is it at? Wolf, as you can see here, has been coming down. It is down. How much? Let's see. Where's my tape measure? There it is. From the top to the bottom, it is down 30% already. And you bought in at around 240 on the average, which is pretty good. So you're probably buying back here even. Yeah, I don't know. I think as time goes on, we're not hearing any news on the HPC-AI deal. I think the stock is going to continue to maybe go down as investors are losing confidence that that is a reality there. I don't know. That's a tough one. I wish you all the best with that one. So let's go back here. Let's see. Do you think holding 2.8 average on Bitfarms is very risky in the next 4 months? No. If you're at 2.8, that's actually not too bad, actually. You're probably down right now, what is that, 30%, 40%, something like that, maybe? I would maybe see if you could dollar cost average in some more, maybe, if you have the cash to do it. Okay. Okay. He said, what are your price predictions for the following time frames? Presidential election, end of year, February 2025. Please also give the same analysis for Bitfarms, IREN targets. Thanks. That's tough. I mean, you just never know where things are going to go. I think by the end of the year, we'll be close to 100,000, if not higher than that. That's kind of what I'm thinking. I could be wrong on that. In general, I'm looking to Bitcoin to go to like 180,000 this cycle. But that's possibly next year sometime. As far as the miners, they're going to go up. I just don't know exactly where they're going to be at different times because you just don't know what Bitcoin's going to do. Bitcoin could go up on a nice run up here, 20, 30%, come back down 10%. It's not something that's easy to figure out. But I think if you're holding and you've been buying into these guys here over the last maybe year or maybe a little longer than that, I think you'll do very well. Even if you bought recently here with some of the miners at much higher prices, if you just hold on for the next 6 to 12 months, I think you're going to do much better than where you are right now. Okay. Fragger, I can't pronounce your name. Fragcal. Be a little bit more polite out there. You don't need that kind of language here. Let's see. Ed, super chat. Thank you so much for the super chat. Have a great night, you too. Thank you so much. Let's see. Hey, Seb, what do you remember about the early signs of last cycle leading to the rapid upswing? I'm not really seeing public chat on Bitcoin or the media. Google Trends looks flat too. Yeah, you don't see those things until it actually starts taking off. So you'll see that after the fact. Also, I'm worried YouTube Premium will just double the screen time. You can watch more. Well, you can watch. So that's a good thing. You can learn more faster than spending time on commercials, right? If you watch, 2 minutes, 3 minutes of commercials each time, and you get 2 or 3 of those in a thing, you're at 10 minutes there possibly of wasted time watching commercials where you could actually learn something from that. So you're actually gaining time. Okay. What is your price prediction for Riot? Last announcement about some data centers spiked the stock 2 days ago. Yeah, I mean, and that was just a comment or a question that Bryce and Anthony asked him on their channel about would he be against HPC-AI deal if it was like something similar to what CoreWeave or CoreScientific got with CoreWeave. And he said, no, he wouldn't be against it, right? If the deal is there that makes sense and it's, a great deal, long-term deal, yeah, he'd be stupid not to accept it, as would any other mining company CEO would be. So I think the thing that spiked it was the stories that came out talking about it, which we already knew that last week. Okay, all right. I think I'm all caught up to you guys' questions here. So we're going to call it a day. I'm going to go watch that HBO documentary on Bitcoin creator, who that is. But we'll see what happens tomorrow. We'll look at some other metrics as well. I do want to say thank you to everyone here for coming in to ask the questions, watch, spend the time with me. Greatly appreciate you guys here. I think, like I keep saying, I think we're still early. We're getting close to that time frame where things should be going up in value. So there's not much more time, I think, left. That's why I've been buying much as I can here, because I'm just not convinced that we're too far off from having a nice rally here. All right, so that's it. I'll see you guys tomorrow. Have a great night. Have a great Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. I'll see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk more tomorrow. But have a great night. Bye.